Hello dear students, this is Mohammad Shahnawaz, assistant teacher, Jalalabad BL High School, Dakshin Shinma Sylhet. Today I have come before you with a topic, and the name of the topic is conditions. And do you know where the conditions are used? Yes, conditions are used in complex sentence. We know very well, according to the structure, there are three sentences. What are they? Simple, complex and compound. And these conditions are used in complex sentence. Before entering into the deep of the topic, try to find out how many conditions are there in English grammar. Let me write. Dear students, we have learned that conditions are of three kinds: first condition, second condition and third condition. Let's see what is the structure of first condition. If plus present tense. If in the complex sentence, if the subordinate clause is first condition, the structure will be if plus present tense. And the structure of the second condition is if plus past simple, and the structure of third condition is if plus past perfect. When you will be told to complete an incomplete sentence, and if there is the conditions, you have to identify which condition is it. If you can identify, then it will be easy for you to complete the complex sentence. Now I will show you a structure and we will try to complete an incomplete sentence. Dear students, suppose we have to complete this sentence. If you invite me, then we have to complete this sentence. To complete this sentence, you have to identify first which condition is it. Let's see, as there is if plus present tense, you can see you invite me, this part is present tense. That's why this condition is first condition. Now, how can we complete this sentence? If the subordinate clause is first condition, you have to write future tense of the principal clause. If you invite me, what will you write? I will attend the party. I can write I will attend the party. If you invite me, I will attend the party. Now it's a question why I have used future, use this part in future tense, because this one is first condition. If the subordinate clause is in first condition, you have to write the principal clause in future tense. So we have learned today, if in complex sentence, if there is a first condition in subordinate clause, we have to write future tense in principal clause. Now we will see another example. Look at the example. If you invited me. In this example, there is a subordinate clause. How can we identify that this part is a subordinate clause? Because we know subordinate clause is started with a subordinating conjunction. You can see there is a subordinating conjunction. If is a subordinating conjunction, and this part or this clause has been started with a subordinating conjunction, that's why this part is subordinate clause. And now we have to identify which conditions are used, which condition is used in this subordinate clause. You can see there is if plus you invited me, this part is in past simple tense. That's why this condition is the second condition. So if there is second condition in the subordinate clause, what should be written in the principal clause? We know in complex sentence there are two clauses. One is the principal clause and the other is the subordinate clause. If principal clause is available, we have to write the subordinate clause, and if the subordinate clause is available, we have to write the principal clause to complete a sentence. You can see, if you invited me, this is a subordinate clause, we have to write a principal clause. Now it's a question, what should be written in principal clause? If there is second condition in the subordinate clause, you have to remember that you have to write future in the past in principal clause. That means you have to write would or could. You have to write would or could as the auxiliary verb in the principal clause. If you invited me, what can be written here? We can write I would attend the party. Again, let's think why I have used would here. Because the subordinate clause is in second condition. If the subordinate clause is second condition, we have to write would or could after the subject in the principal clause. We have to make this principal clause future in the past. Dear students, look at another example. If you had invited me, then we have to write the other part. You can see this one is the subordinate clause. Why? As this clause has been started with if, and we know very well if is a subordinating conjunction. If any clause is started with a subordinating conjunction, this clause is called subordinate clause. And you can see in subordinate clause there is past perfect tense. It is past perfect tense. How can we identify the past perfect tense? There will be had and the past participle form of the principal verb. So this subordinate clause is in past perfect tense. So what kind of condition is it? Yes, this is third condition. And if there is third condition in the subordinate clause, what should be written in the principal clause? Let's see. You have to write would have or would have as the auxiliary verb in the principal clause. If you had invited me, I would have attended the party. If you had invited me, this subordinate clause was in third condition. That's why we have to write would have or could have. Would have or could have in the principal clause. And you know, after have, you have to write the past participle form of the principal verb. So I have used here attended, that means past participle form. Why? As it is written after have. After have verb, the principal verb will be written in the past participle form. Dear students, now we will see the structural differences among the three conditions. Look at the first sentence. If you invite me, I will attend. Why you have used will here? Because the first condition was the subordinate clause was in first condition. That's why we have used will here. That means we have to make this part in future tense. And the second one, if you invited me, I would attend. Why we have used I would attend here? Why we have used would here? Because it was second condition. If you invited me, this clause is in second condition. That's why we have to write would or could in the principal clause. Then if you had invited me, this one is third condition because there is past perfect. In this clause there is past perfect. That's why this is the third condition. And for the third condition we have to use would have or would have. So again try to remember that for the first condition we have to write will or can or may in the principal clause. For second condition you have to write would or could for the principal clause. And for third condition you have to use would have or could have for the principal clause. Dear students, now see the sentences from different aspects. You can see I would help you. There is the principal clause. We have to write the subordinate clause. Now what should be written in subordinate clause? You can see there is would. I would help you. There is would. So which condition will be? Yes, this would be second condition. If there is would, we have to write the second condition in subordinate clause. So we can use here if you ask. If you asked. If you asked, I would help you. Then look at the next sentence. I will help you. There is the principal clause. You have to write the subordinate clause. Now, if you want to write the subordinate clause, which condition will be used here? Yes, as there is will, that means as the principal clause in future tense, you have to write the first condition. That means you have to write if you ask. Then I would have helped you. In the principal clause there is would have, and if there is would have in the principal clause, what should be written in the subordinate clause? Yes, in the subordinate clause you have to use the third condition. So here we can use if you had invited, if you had asked. So dear students, you have learnt how to use the conditions to complete sentences. Again I would like to remind you how can we identify the conditions. If there is if plus present tense, it is first condition. If there is if plus past simple, it is second condition. And if there is if plus past perfect, it is third condition. And for first condition you have to write will or can in the principal clause. And for the second condition you have to write would or could in the principal clause. And for third condition you have to write would have or could have plus past participle form of the principal verb in principal clause. Dear students, we have tried to use the conditions from different aspects, and we also tried to identify the structures of the conditions, and we also tried to use the conditions in different aspects. I think you have learned something from my class, and I would like to request you to practice at your home again and again. And if you think that this channel is really beneficial for you, please like, share, comment and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.